to understand, you need to know my situation. It's not unique. I'm a young guy working a dead-end minimum wage job that requires me to be up before the sun. If I'm late, my pay gets docked. No exceptions. I live in a small, cheap apartment on the 5th floor of a pre-war building that's seen better decades. The plumbing groans, the floors creak, and the windows rattle when the wind blows just right. But it's what I can afford. The most important thing in my life, the thing my entire precious existence balances on, is a good night's rest. And for the last few weeks, something has been stealing that from me. It happened about a month ago, and I still can't clear my mind of it. I was deep asleep, probably dreaming about something mundane like stocking shelves or making coffee, when a sound dragged me violently back to consciousness. It was a grating, rhythmic scraping noise right outside of my window. Like that noise, it was the kind of sound that sets your teeth on the edge, like nails on a chalkboard. I lay there in the darkness, my heart hammering against my ribs, trying to place it. A tree branch? No, there are no trees tall enough to reach the 5th floor. I glanced at my alarm clock. 3:17 a.m. It was slow, deliberate, but getting faster and faster. Undeniably sounded like something that was made by a human. Someone was out there on the 5th floor. My mind raced through a dozen impossible, terrifying scenarios. Finally fueled by a mix of fear and angry exhaustion, I slid out of the bed and crept into the window. The thin curtains were drawn, but the sound was coming directly behind them. I took a deep breath, grabbed the edge of the fabric, and pulled it back an inch. There was a man out there. He was old, with deep, cavernous lines etched into his face, wearing a set of faded grey worker's coveralls. He was perched on something. I couldn't see it clearly in the dark, but I assumed it was one of those window washing platforms, the kind that hangs from the roof. In his withered, bony hands, he held a long-handled brush with a stiff, dirty bristle, and he was methodically dragging it back and forth across my window pane. I stared for a second, my fear giving way to pure, baffled anger. I approached the window so he can hear me. "What the hell are you doing?" I hissed, my voice a harsh whisper. The old man stopped his scraping and turned his head slowly. His face was pale in the moonlight. His eyes were dark, sunken pits. He didn't seem surprised to see me. "Evening sun," he said, his voice dry and gravelly rasp, more demonic than human. "Just doing my job." "Your job? It's 3 o'clock in the morning," I said, trying to keep my voice down but failing. "You're making a racket. People are trying to sleep." He shrugged, a slow, tired movement of his thin shoulder. "Landlord's orders. Wants the facade cleaned every night. Says it keeps the building looking sharp during the day. Gotta get it all done before sunrise." My anger deflated, replaced by confusion. That made no sense. What landlord in their right mind would pay for nightly window washing, especially on a run-down building like this? And why at this hour? It was the most absurd, inefficient thing I've ever heard. "Look," the old man said, his voice softening slightly. "I don't make the rules, son. I just follow them. I'm just an old man trying to make a living. If you've got a problem, you should take it up with the landlord in the morning. For now, I've got a job to do." He turned his back to the window, ready to resume his scraping. I was about to pull the curtains again when he said with a different look on his face, "Say, son," he rasped, licking his dry, cracked lips. "My throat's as dry as a bone. You wouldn't have a glass of water you could spare for an old man, would you? It's a long way down and a long way back up." He gestured with his thumb towards the darkness below. "Just open the window and give me some water." I hesitated. It was a simple request, a harmless one, but something about his voice and about his mannerism felt wrong. The idea of opening my window in my bedroom in the middle of the night to this stranger suspended in darkness, a cold knot of dread formed in my stomach. It was an instinct, a primal feeling of no, don't do that. "Sorry," my voice tight. "I can't. The latch is broken. I can't move it." It was a stupid lie, but it was the first thing that came to my mind. The old man's face darkened. The tired, forced demeanor vanished, replaced by a flicker of cold, hard anger in his eyes. It was there for just a second, and then it was gone, hidden again behind a weary mask. "Suit yourself," he muttered, and turned back to his work. I got back into bed, but sleep was impossible. The scraping sound continued for another hour before finally stopping. I lay awake until my alarm went off, my mind buzzing with anger and confusion. The next morning, on my way to work, I stopped by the landlord's office on the ground floor. He was a portly, balding man who always looked like he'd just woken up from a bad nap. "Excuse me," I started, trying to sound polite. "I just have a quick question about the window washer." He blinked at me, his face mask of confusion. "The what now?" "The window washer," I repeated. "The old man you hired to clean the building. Fasted at night. He woke me up at 3 a.m. It's really loud. Is there any way he could do it during the day?" The landlord stared at me for a long moment, then he let out a short, barking laugh. "Fucking window washer, kid. Are you feeling okay? Look at this place." He gestured with his hand around his dusty, cluttered office. Do I look like the kind of guy who pays for nightly window washing? I haven't had the windows on this building cleaned in 10 years. But there was a man. I insisted. He said, "You hired me." Then the man was lying, the landlord said, his tone shifting from amusement to annoyance. "Probably a crazy person, or maybe you were dreaming, kid. You look like you could use some sleep. Nobody else has complained about the thing now. If you excuse me, I'm busy." He turned his back to his paperwork, a clear dismissal. I walked to my work in a daze. Was I dreaming? It had felt so real. The sound, the cold air, the look on the man's face. But the landlord was not. No one would clean this building at night. It made no sense. I must have been overtired, stressed out. It had to be a dream. Very, very, very a vivid, anxiety-driven dream. I managed to convince myself of that for the rest of the day, but at night I went to bed with a sense of gnawing dread. And sure enough, at 3:24 a.m., I was woken by the same sound. I sat bolt upright in my bed. My heart was pounding. This wasn't a dream. This was real. He was back. He was back for sure. I got out of my bed, my fear now mixed with a cold, hard anger. I marched to the window and ripped the curtains open. He was there, the same old man, the same old faded coveralls, the same relentless scraping. He looked even more comfortable tonight. Perched on his invisible platform like he belonged there in the night sky, he saw me and gave me a slow, almost lazy nod. I approached the window, my hands shaking with adrenaline. "I talked to the landlord," I said, my voice sharp. "He's never heard of you. He didn't hire you, so why the hell are you here? Tell me, why are you doing this before I call the police?" The old man stopped his work. He sighed, a long theatrical sound. He turned the face to me. and his expression was completely different from the night before. His face was a mask of profound, heartbreaking sadness. "Please, son, please." His voice deep, yet trembling. "Please don't do that. I need this job." "It's not a job," I snapped. "You're lying. Who are you?" Tears seemed to well up in his dark, sunken eyes. "The landlord. He must have forgotten, or maybe he just said that. He pays me in cash, you see, off the books. He's not a bad man, just forgetful." He leaned closer to the glass, his voice dropping in a conspirational whisper. "But I need this job, every penny. My little girl, she's very sick, needs an operation, an expensive one, and this is the only work an old man like me can get." I felt a pang sympathy. What if he was telling the truth? What if I was about to ruin this poor old man's life over a little lost sleep? He must have seen the hesitation in my eyes, because he pressed his advantage. "I know you are a kind boy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I can see it in your face. You wouldn't want to hurt a little girl, would you? Maybe you could help me. I don't even need the job. If you could just help a little spare money. Anything you have, it would all go towards her surgery. Just open the window, please. Or maybe just something to eat. I haven't eaten anything since yesterday morning. I'm so hungry. I can barely stand." And just like that, the spell was broken. This was too much. The desperation was too theatrical. The hunger, the sick little girl, the landlord, it was a web of lies, and every single strand was designed to do one thing: get me to open my window. I didn't say another word. I just backed away from the window, pulled out my phone, and with my eyes locked on his face, I dialed the police. I put the phone to my ear. "Yes, hello. I'd like to report a prowler." The old man's face changed. The mask of sadness dissolved. The pleading look vanished. His eyes went cold and flat, and a horrible twisted smile spread across his lips. He knew he had lost. He slowly raised his hands in the air as if he surrendered. "You win, son," he rasped, his voice no longer sad or gravelly, but a smooth, chilling, deep and demon voice. And then he threw himself backward. It was a fluid, almost graceful movement. He just leaned back and fell off the thing he was sitting on into the black emptiness of the night. A scream tore from my throat. He'd kill himself. He jumped right in front of me. I scrambled to my window, my mind screaming, and threw it wide open, leaning out to look down, expecting to see a body or hear a scream, to see anything, and I saw nothing. I looked down. 5 stories of sheer brick wall dropped to the dock. Empty valley. An empty alley that there was nothing in it. There was no body. There was no platform. There was no scaffolding. There was no ropes, no harness, no cherry picker. There was absolute nothing. There was absolutely nothing for a man to sit on, stand on, or hang from outside of a 5th-floor window. It was just thin air. I clung to the window sill, the cold night wind whipping at my face, my mind trying to process the impossible. He hadn't been sitting on anything. He had been floating, levitating, and he hadn't just fallen, he had just vanished. I stumbled back into my room, my body shaking uncomfortably. The police operator was still talking on the phone. I dropped, her tiny voice asking if I was still there. I hung up. What could I tell them? That the floating ghost tried to trick me into opening my window? I'm writing this now because I need to warn you. Be careful of the things that knock in the night. Be careful of the voices that ask you for help. Listen to the cold, primal feeling in your guts. It's there for a reason. It's there to protect you from the things that stand on the other side of the glass, smiling and begging to be let in. Open your window. Thank you everyone for joining us for another day, another story. This wonderful story is also brought to you by gamalfrank, aka GAMALFRAAK. His name will be in the description. He's an amazing author. We have done 3 videos with him right now. And make sure you go follow the main story on the Reddit page and his page on Reddit and his Ko-Fi link that will be in the description. We will have hopefully constant upload every week on Sunday or Saturday. And remember, we also do streaming on Twitch, horror games, FPS games, and we post clips on TikTok. Make sure you go follow them, links below in the description. And you can follow me on Twitter for updates on about content, life, and so on and so forth. And we have a Discord. You can join through the Twitch chat if you put !Discord. And when you get into the Discord server, you can choose to be in the community by accepting the rules and the roles. And until another day, another story, stay safe. And don't open the window.